Hey guys, it's Tara from Enchanted Vines, and today we are going to make a patriotic wreath. Alright, so to get started, we're going to do our bow first. Okay, to get started, I'm going to have my floral wire already cut. I like to use the 22 gauge. And we are going to make just a simple bow with a very simple name, 10 by 10. Really could have been a little bit more creative with that name, but you know. Alright, so to start off, I am going to lay the back side of my ribbon down on my ruler and measure 10 inches. And then I'm going to pleat or pinch, whatever word you prefer. Then I'm going to again take the back side of the ribbon, lay it flat on my ruler, measure 10 inches, and now I'm going to come behind and pleat. So right now my pointer and my thumb are holding this together. Now I'm going to do a nice crisp twist. Again, the back side of this ribbon is on the ruler, and then I'm going to bring it up and pleat. So right now we have like this little figure 8. And I'm going to twist again, measure 10 inches, and then loop that behind. And then I want to have an extra set of tails, so I'm going to make one big loop. It's probably going to be around 20 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this at about 10 inches so it matches the other tails. Now I'm going to take this wire, put it right under my thumb, twist it around the back. Flip that over. Now it's nice and secure. So I'm going to cut this big loop in half, and we're going to dovetail. So I'm going to fold this ribbon in half and cut upward at an angle without cutting my fingers. If you find that when you do it, it comes out the opposite way and you end up with a triangle facing downward, it just means that you did it backwards. So just fold it up and try again. Cut upward in an angle. We're going to do this to all 4 of our tails. And then I'm going to put it on a floral pick, just so it kind of jumps off the wreath. You don't have to do this. You can definitely just, run the wire through the wreath if you want. But all right, so starting at the top of the stick, I am just going to take this nice heavy-duty wire and I'm going to wrap it all the way around until I run out. Now these floral picks have a little copper wire on them. We don't need that. That's really when you're working with live florals. What we're working with is just too heavy-duty. So because I like to cover the mechanics, I'm going to take some floral tape and just apply some pressure so that it adheres. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Just run this through. Okay. Alright, so we have our bow ready, and I love this print. This is from Michaels, and I actually think this is a few years old. I think I had kind of hoarded it. But this really pops. This looks beautiful on people's doors, great in photos. All those things. So, all right, let's get to our wreath. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prep our wreath. So this one's really not too bad. Michael's has been giving me some doozies lately, but in this case, they were all nice, very happy. So just these minimal prepping. So I just want it to be nice and polished and symmetrical. So I like to cut off all of these stray branches. If you or your client likes all these little, viney things, then that's fine too. It's all personal taste and aesthetic. So I don't really change my wreath out for the summer. Usually my spring wreath, that's my wreath until fall. But I do love to have a patriotic wreath on my door for we have Memorial Day, we have 4th of July, and then we have Labor Day. So I like to put out my patriotic wreath, and I like to put little American flags in my planters too. A little way to celebrate the U.S. of A. All right, so now that this is cleaned up, we're going to be making a crescent wreath, so I want to just cover up the least desirable side. And so this here is a little bit on the wonky side, so that's the side that we're going to cover. So now, taking a piece of, it's called jute wire or grapevine wire, I'm just going to feed this through, one thick piece. I'm just going to twist off the ends. Okay, and then I'm going to feed that through so that the rounded side is up at the top. And then I'm going to mark it with a bow. This wire, it's called wire. This wire is designed to blend in, which is great, but sometimes when you're working, you just lose it. So I like to keep it marked. Easier to find. All right, we're going to be applying pretty much the same technique. All right, so the first thing that we're going to be putting on is our beautiful patriotic bow. So I'm working here with my pink Sure Bonder pot, so I'm dipping the stem in and then going. I think it's just so much easier than taking a glue gun and going back and forth. This way it doesn't interrupt the flow of your designing. Come on, when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. You don't want anything slowing you down. All right. So once that's in, we are going to start with our ficus. Okay, and we're going to use variegated for this. This is for an in-person workshop, and I just feel like people like the variegated more than the plain green, so give the people what they want, right? Okay, so I'm just cutting these up into 4 pieces each. Okay, so for the one in the middle, it's too long, so what I did was I cut everything but these last 2 branches. So we're going to save these little guys. We might need them, we might not. And now we're going to start with our framing. Okay, so let's flex our muscle memory, right? I pot right here. Okay, we're going to start in the top corner. And what we're doing is we're setting the parameters of how high we're building this, how wide. So we're down here in the bottom corner. And when I'm working on the bottom half of the wreath, I like to try and feed it upward. Grapevines are naturally grippy. I'm sure you've lost many a sweater to a grapevine because they pull at them. But that's what their job is to be grippy. So I feel like when you are going from the bottom and you are pushing it upward, I think it's more likely to catch. So in addition to the glue securing it, also the grapevine's holding it. So as I'm doing these side to sides, I am giving them a bend so that it just follows the natural curve of the wreath. I'm going to try and make this one a little more contained today. I realize I have really started going a little flare happy, so I'm going to try and dial it in a bit on this design. So we're going to do one above our bow. Maybe one below. I'd love to know if you decorate for our patriotic holidays, if you're here in the U.S. And if so, what do you do? I know some people have, I'm not going to say the right word. They're like banners, like they're beautiful. They're printed like this. and they go under like your windows. I love those. All right, so I'm going to do one more here. Notice at the end I keep feeling like that's always missing, so we're just going to start off by putting it in. And with everything I'm doing, I'm repeating it. It is a great way to keep things nice and balanced. It's not perfect, but it definitely helps. All right, so once we're done with our ficus, we are going to start with our florals. And for this, we're going to be doing a mix of some hydrangea, some ranunculus, some berries. So, but like these are, to me, like the perfect shades for this. So I am going to start with the blue hydrangeas first. Okay, so there are 5 of these on every bush. 2, 3. I had paired the like ones, so I have more than 5 here. We're only going to use 5. All right, we're going to do this like a pattern. So I'm going to start working from my bow out. All right. Here. And then I'm going to repeat below. And now for these, they're just going straight into the wreath, so it's not that they're being slid up because I want the heads facing this way. Okay. Kind of alternate with this one's going low, so this one's going to be high. And we're going to repeat that below. One more. This one right here. Okay, next we're going to go in with our white. So for these, I like the foliage, so I'm going to push the foliage up on these gently so they don't pop the head off the flower. Trim this. So this design is going to be for an upcoming workshop, and it's at a brewery, so yay, but also it's a veteran-owned brewery, so I think it's a cool event to have there. All right, so starting again with our pattern, let's pick a taller one. We are going to start in this top corner. This one's going to start high. And the way these hydrangeas are, there's always one that's much bigger than the others, so I'm going to use those up top so that they're in a more prominent spot. And then below, bottom corner. Right now I have a lot of glue hair, so if you're noticing like an excess of glue hair, it is probably because your glue is not hot enough. So I had kind of just turned this on. So right now I am creating more glue strings than I need to. But hopefully you are designing with high temp glue products, whether it's, you know, the glue gun or the glue pot, because high temp glue is going to be a lot more, what's the right word? It's gonna hold. So, you know, some people have doors that just get so much full sun and you hear about their wreath like literally melting. Well, for high temp, I mean, the sun would have to be incredibly, incredibly hot for the glue to melt. So I think it is the right product for the job. So for my glue pot, I use the Sure Bonder pellets, and then for my glue gun, I use the Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue sticks. Okay, I'm going to push the foliage up. And I recently ordered Gorilla Glue sticks, and I got the half-size ones, and those drive me nuts because you go through them so quickly. But I also was too lazy to return them, so I'm going to make them work. Alright, starting with our patterns again. We're going to just look to see where the blank spots are. Repeat that below. You can just kind of see there's there's that matching gap because we are doing things pretty balanced, pretty much alternating. Let's see, going back up top. Listen, I love how vibrant these colors are. Like, these are just gonna totally pop off of somebody's door. All right, let's see. This looks a little bit out of place. Sometimes the Sure Bonder glue is too good. Okay, so I did pull the head off, but this one is an easy fix. So I'm just going to take this stem, I'm going to dip it in the glue, and then I'm just going to put it back in. All right. She's good to go. She is like new. All right, so I was trying to correct right here. All right, now I'm going to take a step back. All right, and so I think we can use this red down here. I'm going to hold off on this red one for now. And let's go in with some of our textured greens. So we're going to use this mixed fern. Push it up a bit. I love the color of this. Let's see. Let's try and use 4. So when we're designing for workshops, we obviously want to make sure that we are keeping in mind the cost, because if your materials are really, really high, then your tickets might not sell, and then you are left with a whole lot of inventory. So you want to find a balance. You want to make sure everything is good quality, but you also don't want to go crazy. Like, if there's a less expensive substitute, then that's what you should go with. Well, that's how I do it anyways. Okay. And then right here. There's so much like movement with this. I love it. And then right here we have an area that needs more height. Not a lot of height, just a little bit. And so this one obviously is patriotic themed, but this is something you could do with anything. You could just use 2 colors of hydrangea. You could do it with peonies. All just that same pattern. Now we're going to go in with our woodland fern. Okay, these are pushers too. So I want to keep them airy. So I'm not going to push them too hard. I don't want the heads to pop off. And let's see if we can also get away with using half a bush for this. That may or may not work. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to start up in this corner. I'm actually going to start behind the bow. Looking a bit neglected. I'm going to put one above. We're going to put one below. And then I always like something that's cascading at the end. So we're going to just give this a bend and overlap that. Okay. And then repeat that down below. Take a step back, and both here and there are lacking as well as behind the bow, so we're gonna use the whole bush of the fern. We want it to be cost effective, but we also want to make sure everybody leaves with a beautiful full wreath, so it's not worth skimping on it and people not loving it. So here. Alright, repeat that down here. Push that up a little more. And then let's also get some going in between our flowers. We want to break that up. We don't want it just to look like it's all just solid floral. Okay. Little disruptors. Give it that character that it needs. Then, so I have these berries. I have a few things, and like usual, I'm going in blind. So I just want to see if I want to add this or if I think this is going to detract from the blue. I kind of think it's going to. These look nice. All right, so let's just go and use a couple of these smaller ranunculus blooms. We'll start there. Okay, we still have one of the red hydrangea, so I'm going to put this right behind our bow. This area is looking very bare. Put that in, and then I'm going to take one of these ranunculus. I'm going to put one up, kind of right above where that's in between that tail. And then I'm going to repeat and put one below. And an upward angle. Okay. And then we are going to use our little nubbin guys just to fill this out a little bit more and to come in between the florals. So. And they're just kind of peeking out, so it's okay that they're not the nice pointy ones that we love so much. And yeah, you can kind of like spread the leaves out so they're going in different directions just to get the most out of it. Piece of this left. Sometimes we just use, if we don't place our materials in the right way, we're just kind of wasting them. So that one could have been positioned better. And then we're going to put one on either side of our bow. Ribbon? Bow? I was thinking about all these accents, but they're not the same, like, aside from the ranunculus, they're just not bright like this. And I really don't want to detract. Everything's super malleable, so it's move it however you see fit. Oops. I need this, so where did you come from? Here we go. I am just dipping the base in. I'm just going to reattach this. Sometimes I wouldn't really care if just a little thing fell off, but this is such a small bloom that we need every piece of it. And just make sure we have the same thing going here, that we just have one bloom kind of at the end. Let's see. I'm going to take one more piece of ficus and just put it here. You never know until you get started what you're going to use, I guess, or how much. So I'm going to trim these small. Okay, then I'm going to give this a nice bend. And this one I'm going to bend so it's going upward. She's good. This one came together very, very easily. So now we're just going to flip it over and we're going to trim off all the stems that went through. And because these are the pieces that have the glue on them, we're going to go back with our glue gun and we're going to just add glue to where we trimmed. Cover it up with a little bit of moss to make sure we're not scratching any doors. Sometimes they're a little hard to see, so you just kind of like gently feel around. You poke yourself. I was going to say impale, but impale seems a little bit dramatic. All right. Now we're going to do our glue gun and get our moss ready. Right now I'm using fancy moss. This is from HomeSense. I just am waiting for the regular moss to come back or to arrive. So I'm using fancy moss. It's definitely less messy. It's just a lot more expensive. Just watching my fingers. So I'm not touching the hot glue. Damn it, I thought you were going to see me. All right. All right, and then I dropped glue here, so I'm just going to let that dry. It'll definitely peel off. It's on the back of the leaf anyways, but we don't want that showing for our customers. Oh, here too. Sneaky. Okay. So I'm going to end up using a hairdryer to get the glue hairs off. And then I'm going to be doing the UV spray. All right, here is our crescent wreath. Perfect for the summer months, for those awesome long weekends that we all look forward to, a way to just celebrate the U.S. and have our entryways celebrate it with us. So I hope you guys like this video, and thank you for watching.